Well, there's one thing that has been missing in Queensland's election results, and it's got to do with energy, coal specifically. In 2022, the Queensland Labor government introduced a new coal royalties scheme with the highest coal royalty rate in the world. And that delivered the state a record surplus of over $12 billion last year, which Labor then blew on wind, solar storage and transmission. All the while, these sky-high royalties were damaging investment and profit across the coal sector. But on Saturday, voters rejected Labor's renewables path. In Queensland coal communities, the swings against the former Miles Labor government were significantly stronger than elsewhere. And prior to the election, a poll by Coal Australia found that voters in key communities like Mackay, Rockhampton, Gladstone, for example, all strongly agreed that coal mining is indeed important to their community. And joining me now is Coal Australia Chairman Nick Jorss. Nick, thank you very much for joining us on the show this evening. What message have coal communities sent to Queensland Labor?
Thanks, Danica. Great to be here. Look, I think there's a clear message here that the coal industry and coal workers and coal communities and our supporters are sick of being used as a political football. That's what we've been for a period of time, probably the last 10 to 15 years, I think, where the industry's been demonised. What we need to do is restore and unleash the pride that we know is in these industries. People are doing great work. We're exporting coal. We're the engine room of the Queensland economy, and we're the second biggest export industry in Australia. And the other thing is, I think, coal communities and coal industry wants to be consulted. We just need to be treated as any other important industry. So when new taxes come in, very high taxes on a worldwide basis, we've now got, as you say, the highest royalty regime in the world. Bigger than any South American country. That's an incredible disincentive to investment and to new jobs and to keeping jobs in the existing coal mines. We're just looking for an even level playing field. Moving back against probably the activists that have had the megaphone for too long and just telling our story.
Oh, this is it. And, we need to keep the lights on in this country somehow. And we're rushing onto this renewables race. And clearly it's not working. You mentioned, of course, those royalties. What's been the impact and how much of operating profits are actually ending up in government coffers?
Well, the biggest issue with the royalties, aside from them being the highest in the world, is that they're based on revenue. So they don't take account of paying your wages or paying your costs or making any profit return on your investment for your shareholders or your financiers. And so, I can speak from personal experience. I chair a little Queensland company, and we acquired a couple of mines a couple of years ago, and we've started those up. One of them we had to shut down, 300 jobs lost, and I put that down in a large part to the royalties that we had to pay. So we were paying, $60, $70 a tonne, and at that stage we weren't profitable. Equally, on the mine we have now, we've just successfully raised some money, which is great, but it has been a hard slog, and I don't see too many people lining up to open new mines as the existing mines close. So, we last year at Bowen Coking Coal, we paid $60 million in royalties. We owe the government about another 30. And we didn't make money. So it's not a lot of fun as a business employing 500 people in central Queensland and in Brisbane to just basically have to go to raise money to fill the government coffers. And I think, as Kerry Packer famously said, if they were spending it better, it'd be a little bit easier to stomach. But unfortunately, they're not.
Where to now? Because Labor's obviously been punted in Queensland. There is a federal election soon. As we said, Anthony Albanese is forging ahead with this renewables-only fantasy. If Labor federally is re-elected, where does this leave your industry?
Yeah, great question. Look, I think we're still working out the strategy. I think we had a big impact. We had a big impact in Queensland. We've done some polling in New South Wales. We see the same sort of results. I mean, we see very strong support for our mining communities and the coal industry in central Queensland, also in southeast Queensland, where we polled that, remarkable support. And equally in in New South Wales. So look, we'll branch out beyond that now. But what we're seeing is really outside of probably a few inner city enclaves, capital cities, and perhaps in Canberra as well. We're seeing most people have a sensible attitude to this. They're sort of waking up, I think, to the fact that coal has provided the low-cost electricity that we've relied on and has made us competitive globally. And as we attempt to move away from that, we're seeing electricity prices go through the roof. Our poor friends in South Australia who have the highest penetration of wind and solar, also have the highest electricity costs in the country. The same thing's happening in Germany, in the UK, where you've got very high solar and wind penetration. You're seeing deindustrialisation, degrowth at a rapid rate. So, look, we're just keen to have a common sense discussion here. And I think what we're finding is, as I say, it's not just coal communities. We're finding it throughout, sensible Australians. Labor has, I think, in my opinion, we're not a political organisation, but in my opinion, Labor has abandoned the working class. That impacts not just coal communities, but everywhere. So, seats like, for instance, Mackay, which has never gone to the LNP in history, is now gone to the LNP. Rockhampton as well has been a very long time. So, it's a remarkable result, and our really polling is consistent. That people support our industry.
Absolutely. Well, as your T-shirt says there, we built this city on rocks and coal. I really like that. Nick Jorss, great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Can I just add, if you want one of these, get on our website, coalaustralia.com, sign up. We've already got 13,000 supporters, friends of coal. We're just getting the shop fired up at the moment, but very excited about where this is going. It's taking off.
Well, it's an important conversation to have. Great to have you on, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us.